And welcome back to Let's Play Persona 3. Last time, we awoke to the power of Persona, and oof, that took a lot out of us. We ended up shooting forward over a week in time, and we're kind of left in the dark about what exactly is going on in regards to Persona and the shadows and all that jazz. But I have a feeling, with due time, we'll come to have greater understanding about what happened on that night and what exactly we can do about the power of Persona, and really what's going on with Yukari, Mitsuru, the chairman, and Akihiko. For now, though, we just have to rest and try to catch up with the times in Persona 3 Portable and Persona 3 FES. To that effect, we're going to head to school on Saturday, and we are going to have a pop quiz. But not before we catch up with Junpei. Yo, long time no see. What's up? Did you have an upset stomach or something? Anyways, I got something to tell you. And what happened? Actually... Oh wait, I'm not supposed to spill. Sorry man, forget you heard anything. Sheesh, someone's full of energy today. I could hear you from all the way over there. Huh? You two didn't come to school together, even though you're in the same dorm? I've heard enough about that. Anyway, Zeller-kun, are you feeling better? Sorry to hit you with this so soon after you recovered, but the chairman wants to talk to you today. Head to the dorm after school and come up to the 4th floor. Don't forget, okay? And now we've got the objective that we have in all other versions of the game. Hold up, why are you being called out by the chairman? What the heck did you do?
It's not like
It's
that.
nothing serious. Come on. We're gonna be late if we just stand around talking. And with all that yammering, all that yapping, we are taken to the afternoon, where finally we get our quiz, once again with Mr. Ono. That's enough about mammoths. I don't see the big deal. They're just huge elephants. Starting off much like he did in the other versions, but he does have a different question here. Well, that wraps up for the Stone Age. Ugh. Tired about these lessons about fossils. I'd rather talk about the Sengoku era. Japanese history is not exciting enough until then. But it's what I'm paid to do, so here we are. It's not easy being an adult. Hey, I hear you, brother. Next is the Jomon period. When do the samurai get their day in the sun? I'll ask a question at random and call it a day. Zeller-kun. The places where people dump their waste in the Jomon period, what are they called nowadays? Well, that would be middens. I'll pretend like I didn't just look that up beforehand. That's right, they're called middens. The word is Scandinavian in origin, and it means dunghill. Glorious. That didn't work. Still not interested in this at all. I want to get to the age of katanas. Everything else is so dull. Mr. Ono, you're bringing the whole class down. But I answered correctly, so everyone is looking at me with respect. Yeah. I like the nice little pencil case Junpei has there. The little red outline. It looks cool. I like it. Alright, so now we are left with nothing to do but return to the dorm.
Hey. Wanna walk home together? We live in the same dorm and all, and I've been a little worried. What if you pass out again on the way home? I feel responsible for that, you know? Let me make it up to you. Come on, let's go. Home safe. glad you're feeling okay now. Well, I guess I'll head up first. Like I said this morning, meet me on the 4th floor. The chairman should be waiting for us.
Huh? What's this thing shining on my bed? Twilight Fragment, eh? Haven't seen anything like this before. I should hold on to it for now. The Twilight Fragments are a new addition to Persona 3 Reload. These do not exist in earlier versions of the game, and they're sort of an alternative currency. We'll be seeing the use of Twilight Shards in the very near future. Just a little bit of extra dialogue there as well, just to show that Yukari does care, in case you didn't believe it. Anyway, with all that said and done, we have nothing left to do but to head to the 4th floor. Actually, real quick, before we go on, I just want to double check these. I want to make sure I don't forget I check these. Okay. No, we can't buy anything from the vending machine yet. There is a reason we'd want to buy some stuff from the vending machine in the near future. One thing to note is that at this point in Persona 3 FES and Portable, we can actually buy stuff from the vending machine if we want to. Specifically, I want to buy a Mad Bull, though I don't actually plan to use this in the near future. I'm just getting this ahead of time so that I have it in my inventory. Once we get the opportunity to buy these in Persona 3 Reload, I do actually have plans to utilize them. Right now, though, I'm just picking this up because we'll need it for a sequence trigger later. Ah, there you are. What you got for me, Yukari? Come on, they're waiting for you inside.
Ah, there you are. Looks like you've recovered. I'm glad to see that. There are some things I need to discuss with you. That's why I asked you to see me so soon after your discharge from the hospital. Please, have a seat. Oh, before that, I believe I mentioned his name before, but this is Sanada-kun.
Hey there.
Okay, let me start off by asking you this. Would you believe me if I said that a day consists of more than 24 hours?
Excuse me? What exactly do you mean?
That's a reasonable reaction. However, you've already experienced this truth firsthand. Do you remember the night you first arrived here? You had to have noticed the signs. Street lights going out, things that stopped working, the inexplicable appearance of coffins. With so many things amiss, didn't it feel like you'd stepped into a different time? That's the Dark Hour. A time period hidden between one day and the next.
I don't really understand it. One thing to know is that the Dark Hour is kind of a fanciful name, as we'll quickly find out. It'll last as long as the plot needs it to when it happens.
I know how you feel. Who would believe such a fantastical claim? But the Dark Hour does exist, and it occurs each night as the clock strikes 12. It will happen tonight, and every night to come.
Normal people don't realize it, since they're all sleeping inside their coffins. But that's not what makes the Dark Hour so interesting. You saw them. Those creatures. We call them shadows. They only appear during the Dark Hour, and attack anyone who roams free outside the coffins. It's our job to defeat them. Pretty exciting, huh?
Akihiko, why are you always like this? You just got hurt the other day.
Now, he does his work well in any case. I'll get to the point. We are the Specialized Extracurricular Execution Squad. SEES for short. On paper, we're classified as a school club. But in reality, this group is dedicated to defeating the shadows. Mitsuru Kirijo-kun is the leader, and I'm the club advisor.
A shadow feeds on the mind of its prey. The victim becomes a living corpse.
Apathy syndrome. I'm sure you've heard of it. We sometimes refer to those who suffer from this as the lost.
They're responsible for most of the incidents on the news, if not all of them.
And how exactly, well, I guess, what do law enforcement know about this at all?
Unfortunately, the police can't do a thing during the Dark Hour.
Although rare, there are those who can function during the dark hour. Some may even awaken to a power that enables them to fight shadows. That's known as persona, the power you called upon the other night. Shadows can only be defeated by persona users. That means you are the only ones who stand a chance against them.
Okay, I think I get it.
I'm glad you're quick to understand.
What he's trying to say is, we want you to join us. We've prepared an evoker for you. We'd like you to lend us your strength.
Well, I mean, if we're going to be experiencing the Dark Hour anyway, I think it would be best if we partied up with people who are also capable of using the power of Persona. Who knows when we could fall victim to the shadows on our own.
Whew. I was afraid you'd say no. I'm glad to hear you're on board.
Thank you so much. Truly. Oh, I almost forgot. About your room assignment. Why don't you just stay in the room you have now? I don't know what the holdup is, but I guess it worked out in the end.
Hold up? But wasn't that... Oh, never mind.
I joined Seas to fight the shadows. Huh? I can hear a voice ringing inside my head.
I am thou. Thou art I. Thou hast established a new bond. Thou shalt have our blessing when thou choosest to create a persona of the Fool Arcana.
And with that, we have established our first social link, the Fool Arcana. Remember, in this game they're called social links. I catch anybody referring to them as confidants, I'm going to glower at them like a crotchety old man. Nah, I'm just kidding. But anyways, the purpose of social links will become apparent in due time. One thing to note is that the Fool social link is a story-driven social link. We don't have to put any personal effort into putting this one or making this one go up. It will just go up on its own as the story progresses, which is good and bad, for reasons we'll get into later. I feel my inner strength growing. I recall what Igor said about the power of social links.
Well, that's all for today. I'll follow up with you regarding our club activities later on.
Checking terminology. Certain terms that have been displayed before in messages, along with their descriptions, can be viewed by opening the menu with Y, going to the system, and selecting dictionary. So yes, if you've been noticing that any terms are arbitrarily highlighted green, and particularly in Persona 3 Portable, they have a little book icon next to them, that's what this is about. Personally, I don't find any of the terminology used in this game that confusing, that this is really necessary, but some extra flavor text if you want to check it out.
I apologize for gathering you all here on your precious day off. Tomorrow is Sunday, so take some time to relax. Well then, shall weekend this meeting? You know, because it's the weekend. Shall we end? Shall week end? Get it?
The air went frosty there.
Hi, how have you been?
How'd you get in here?
I'm always by your side. Soon, the end will come. I remembered, so I thought I should tell you.
What end are you talking about?
It's the end of everything, but to be honest, I don't really know much about it.
Just sliding in some Persona 3 Portable content here to show that a lot of the times the female protagonist generally has more, shall we say, outgoing or perky responses. Usually you can just blow him off if you're playing as the male character here, but you can thank the mysterious boy for the warning in the PSP version.
I wasn't expecting you to thank me. But you're welcome.
That is what I'm supposed to say, right? I don't really know what this end is about either. More importantly, it looks like you've awakened to your power. And what an unusual power it is. A power that takes many forms, yet is bound by none. It might even prove to be your salvation, depending on where you end up. Do you remember when we first met? I expect you to honor your commitment. I'm always watching you, even if you forget about me. Okay then, see you later.
Huh, well, that was ominous. Anyways, it's Sunday.
Hey, you in there?
Looks like I slept till nighttime.
If you are, could you come downstairs? Sonata-senpai's calling for us. Okay, he's here. So what's this about?
Thanks for coming. There's someone I want to introduce. Hey, hurry up.
Just a sec. God, this thing's freaking heavy.
What? Junpei? Why are you here? Don't tell me.
This is Junpei Iori from Class 2F. They'll be staying here from now on.
What's up?
He's staying here? Are you sure there wasn't some mistake?
I bumped into him the other night. He has the potential, but he just awakened to it recently. I told him about us, and he agreed to help out.
Really? You have the potential?
He found me crying like a baby at the convenience store, surrounded by a bunch of coffins. I don't remember much, but man, that's embarrassing. Whew. But he said that's, you know, completely normal in the beginning. Like being confused and not remembering anything. You guys know that?
Oh, let's be smokier. It didn't happen to me.
Hey, what's with the tough guy act? You should know about it, since you're a Persona user and all. Man, I still can't believe it. I had no idea you guys had this stuff going on, too. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Wouldn't really want to be doing this on my own. You gotta be stoked too, right? Having me join?
What? I guess.
Well, enough with the introductions. Now that our forces have increased, I think we're about ready.
Ooh, we gotta go do something? Sweetness! I'm getting pumped!
With this many people, we could start checking out that tower.
Oh, you mean Tartarus.
Tartar sauce? What?
It's a place that holds the key to understanding the Dark Hour. Or so we think.
The key.
The chairman will give us more details tomorrow night, so be ready.
Well, looks like Junpei has more to him than meets the eye, and our party size has increased once again. Yo, you ready to kick some ass? Oh, I sure am. I'm so glad I was invited to join. Plus, the dorm seems pretty cozy. But the best part is that we're the only ones that can fight these enemies. You seem pretty gung-ho there, Junpei. Well, duh! Who wouldn't be stoked about fighting for justice? Though, to be perfectly honest, I ain't got a single clue of what we're supposed to be doing. But I'm sure we'll find out. They did say that they'll explain everything. Yeah, they did. We should probably not dilly-dally too much in school, though.
Ooh, I'm tired. I was about to fall asleep.
Can I have a minute? Come to the room on the 4th floor when you get back to the dorm tonight. I have something to tell you all.
Oh, are we having that talk already?
I'll save the details for later. See you there.
doesn't waste any time.
She's not like us. She's busy, you know, with the student council or whatever.
Whoa, Yucatan, do I sense some hostility?
It's not that I don't like her, it's just... I don't know.
Ooh, a little frosty from Yukari. But like I was saying, probably shouldn't...
Okay, school days finally over.
Junpei, don't interrupt me. I was saying we probably shouldn't dilly-dally at school too much. We've got stuff to do back at the dorm. Okay, you may continue now, Junpei.
They're probably waiting for us at the dorm, right? Let's hurry back. Finally made it. Can't believe the accident delayed our train so much. It's already dark out. Been happening a lot lately, though. People jumping onto the tracks. This apathy syndrome thing's getting out of control. It's like the whole world's falling apart. Crap! Everyone else is there already. You better hurry. Oh man, I'm getting kind of hungry. Small rocks! So many places to chow down. Plus, they're open late. Speaking of, I heard the ramen joint upstairs has a secret late-night menu.
I would just like to say, it might seem a little conspicuous and gratuitous that Junpei is saying this right now, but the reason why he's saying it will become apparent, actually in the next video. But we better hurry to the dorm.
Yeah.
Like her, she's just... Never mind. Let's go. About earlier, it's not that I don't like her or anything, you know? Oh, I'm talking about Mitsuru-senpai. Why's Junpei always have to talk about stuff that isn't any of his business, huh? Plus, he says it all in the creepiest, most perverted way. He's like the poster boy for sexual harassment. You know, last year he...
All right, everyone's here.
Heck yeah! Let's get right into it!
Now, I'd like your undivided attention. For a long time, Kirijo-kun and Sanada-kun were the only persona users we had. But that number has recently jumped to 5. So here's the plan. Starting tonight at 12 a.m., I'd like us to finally begin exploring Tartarus.
So, I asked this yesterday, but what is that Tartar thing again?
It's Tartarus. You seriously haven't seen it, Junpei?
I mean...
It's no surprise you haven't seen it. Tartarus only appears during the dark hour, after all.
Only during the dark hour?
Just like the shadows. Interesting, huh?
The goal of our club, SEES, is to fight those shadows. However, simply defeating shadows during the dark hour isn't enough. We must get to the root of the problem. We need to destroy the dark hour itself.
I don't really get it. Well, you're saying if we run around Tartarus, we can somehow get rid of the dark hour?
We don't know for certain. Sorry I can't give you a better answer. But investigating the mysteries of that tower is part of our job.
The bottom line is, we need more information. Everything we encounter there will be a vital clue for us.
The exploration of Tartarus is of utmost importance. Consider it our top priority. Our society, while remaining blissfully unaware of the shadows, is slowly but surely succumbing to their influence. I would go as far as to say that the fate of the world rests on the shoulders of you persona users.
That's one hell of a responsibility. But the heroes of justice will prevail.
It's also the perfect spot for us to train and improve our skills. That place is like a nest of shadows, you know.
Whoa, their nest, huh?
But Senpai, what about your injury?
Akihiko's still recovering from his wounds. He'll accompany us, but won't participate in the exploration.
Yeah, I know.
Relax. Oh, Junpei's got your backs.
I'm not so sure about this.
What about you, Mr. Chairman?
I'll stay here. Not much point anyway, since I can't summon a persona.
Huh? We're here? What's going on? Why are we at school?
Just wait and see. It's almost midnight.
This is Tartarus, the labyrinth that reveals itself during the dark hour.
Why here? Just wait a few minutes. It's almost midnight.
This is Tartarus, the labyrinth that reveals itself during the dark hour.
This is it? This is the place? Why here? Just wait a few minutes. It's almost midnight.
This is Tartarus, the labyrinth that reveals itself during the dark hour.
As you can see, in Persona 3 Portable, the transformation of the school into Tartarus is not quite as much of a looker. Cutting back in here right now, just to say, well, first off, I will admit, as underwhelming as that transformation was, that was a pretty cool looking illustration. But also, in the PSP version, you actually head to Tartarus the moment that Junpei joins, or at the very least, in the female storyline, you do that. I'll be honest, I have never really played much of the male story in this version of Persona 3, because there's not really much reason to. It's just kind of a downgraded version of the one featured in the PS2 version. That's neither here nor there, though. I would just want to comment on that before I forgot about it.
Labyrinth? What are you talking about? What happened to our school?
Once the dark hour passes, everything will return to normal.
This is the nest you were talking about? But why? Why'd our school turn into a giant tower? You don't know either?
No.
I'm sure it's complicated.
If we don't know, we'll just have to find out. Mitsuru and I have only gone in to take a peek. This will be our first time exploring it. Exciting, huh? There's gotta be something in there. Hopefully some sort of clue about the Dark Hour.
Akihiko, I respect your enthusiasm, but you won't be exploring it today.
I know. You don't have to keep reminding me.
So this is Tartarus. In any case, we decide to enter the tower.
Whoa. It's just as crazy on the inside.
Sure is creepy, though.
This is only the entrance. The labyrinth lies beyond the doorway at the top of these stairs.
First, you need to get a feel for the place. Why don't the three of you go have a look around?
What? By ourselves?
We're not asking you to go very far. I'll help you navigate by feeding you information from here.
We'll also need to appoint a leader to make any necessary decisions.
A leader? Like, the captain of a pirate ship? I'm in! Me! Pick me!
You're in charge.
Wait! Why him? He doesn't look like a captain!
Calm down. He has experience fighting already.
Wait, seriously?
That's true too, but the main reason is far more simple. Junpei, and you too, Takeba. Can either of you summon your persona without difficulty like he can?
Yeah, of course I can!
Me too.
These are shadows we're talking about. Without your persona, you're screwed.
I'm aware of that.
All right, let's head inside. Are you ready, leader?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
That's the spirit.
The velvet key in my hand is shining.
What's the matter?
A strange door is sitting in the corner of the lobby.
I've been waiting for you. The time has come for you to wield your power. The tower that you are about to venture into. How did it come to be? For what purpose does it exist? Regrettably, you are not yet capable of answering these questions. That is why you must be made aware of something before you go any further. You must understand the nature of your power.
About that door...
The door you just passed through is the entrance to this realm. Of course, no one but you can see it. Your power is unique. It is like the number 0. Empty. But at the same time, holding infinite possibilities. You, my boy, are able to possess multiple personas and summon them at will. And when you have defeated your enemies, you will see the faces of possibility before you. There may be times when they are difficult to grasp, but do not fear. Seize what you have earned. Your power will grow accordingly. Be sure to keep that in mind. Now then, my spare time will soon be scarce. Next time, once again, may you open the door and come here of your own accord. I'll tell you then about my true role, the manner in which I can best assist you.
Ah, but before I forget, do you recall when I mentioned another resident of this room? Tell me, when you think of this person, what do you see?
Now, before the Velvet Room sequence wraps up in Persona 3 Portable, we get a prompt that only appears if you're playing as the female protagonist. Igor asks you to tell him what you think of when you think of the other resident of this room. Now, if you say, I think it's a woman, Elizabeth will pop out at this point, and she will continue to be alongside Igor for the rest of the game. But, uniquely, instead of Elizabeth, the female protagonist can choose a male assistant for Igor. Why don't we check out what this fellow looks like?
I see. Then let's bring him out for a proper introduction.
My name is Theodore, but please, feel free to call me Theo. It's a pleasure to meet you.
My assistant will aid you as well. Until then, farewell.
So yeah, in Persona 3 Portable, if you're playing as the female protagonist, you can have the debonair Theodore, or Theo, as your Velvet Room assistant. He serves the same function as Elizabeth and has all of the same events, or, well, mostly the same events, occur along with him. He is just, you know, a dude. This doesn't really impact the game too much, if I'm being honest, and in fact, there's a couple of instances where they kind of forgot that Theodore was, going to be the character in the scene, but we'll get to that when we get to that. It's going to be a long while before we see that.
Until we meet again.
Farewell.
Hey, are you alright?
Yeah, what's up? You look like a zombie.
Oh, you know, I just opened this door and...
Huh? What door?
Man, are you loco?
They don't seem to see the door. I guess that's consistent with what Igor told us.
Have you been nodding off? You seem kinda out of it.
Dude, you're supposed to be our leader. Get your head in the game.
We'll be following you. Come on, let's go.
Leader.
The entrance to the labyrinth is at the top of the stairs. Whenever you feel ready to start, lead the way. Utilizing the menu. You can open the menu by pressing Y. Accessing the menu will allow you to view you and your allies' statuses and personas, as well as use skills and items. We don't have too much in that regard, though. While exploring Tartarus, you can save at locations where you can change your party. However, you cannot save on the floor you're currently exploring. You can save from the menu by pressing the menu or by pressing the pause button. So basically what that means is we can only save in Tartarus at the base floor, for the most part. Over here is a clock. Now, in Persona 3 Reload, this clock doesn't seem to be working at this particular moment, but the clock does different things depending on which version of the game you're playing. Let's talk to our party here. Yukari, what do you have to say? So this is Tartarus. Well, that was not very illuminating. You got anything else to say? No. Junpei? Alright, let's do this. I'll prove that I should be in charge. You keep dreaming, pal. Remember, Takeba and Junpei have no real battle experience, so you make sure to back them up. And Mitsuru? Don't worry, I won't push you too hard. You'll be just fine. Hey, is that a motorcycle? That's where I keep my navigation equipment. Sorry, but do you mind not touching that? Ooh, touchy, touchy. Anyway, let's pop open the menu and take a look at ourselves as well as our party here. Now, of course, we are just stuck at lowly level 1, which is a distinct difference from the other versions of the game. And our persona, Orpheus, he's looking a little bit better. In this version of the game, he actually resists fire, which is pretty nice, but he still has 2 weaknesses. Fortunately, we don't have to worry too much about these coming up. He also learns Dia over the other versions of Orpheus, just learning Agi and Tarunda, which is also pretty nice. Kind of wish he would have learned Bash first, but that'll come up later. Next up, let's pop over to Yukari. Yukari has the persona Io, and she has the spells Garu and Dia, and will learn Patra at level 5. She's weak to elect, but resistant to wind. And I want to point something out about your party members' resistances. They are much stronger than the resistances you have. Yukari's resistance to wind is about 90% damage reduction. Any persona that you can equip when it resists an element usually only gets a 50% reduction. Ditto for Junpei. His fire resistance is around the 90% range, and his weakness is wind. Junpei will specialize in physical attacks, as opposed to Yukari, who's more focused towards magic. Though, of course, with how low level we are and how low our stats are, this is a marginal difference at the moment. He starts with Power Slash and will learn Agi. While we're on the topic of status, I may as well go over everything that is available in the Tartarus lobby in the other versions of the game. Starting with FES, of course, you can check your own status by pressing the triangle button. Also, you can save your progress by accessing the clock to the left of the entrance. So, the clock in this version of the game has one singular purpose. This allows you to save your data. It does not do anything else. It is purely a save point in this version of the game. There's also, in almost any case, the only other place you are able to save your progress. And of course, we can bring up the pause menu and check our statuses. We can take a look at Orpheus here. As you can see, just to go over it again, Orpheus, a little bit weaker in the original versions of Persona 3, has no fire resistance and just a couple of weaknesses, no Dia spell either, but that ultimately does not matter too much. Now, let's take a look at our status and our team's status, and wait a second. And there's my social stats. I can go over to the Persona status, but where the heck is my team status? Well, I can see everybody's level and their skills, in the skill, or not even their skills, just their level in the skills menu. What the heck? How do I check everyone's status? Mitsuru, can you help me out here? Don't worry, I won't push you too hard. You'll be just fine. What do you guys, can you guys tell me what exactly you're capable of? So this is Tartarus. Ah, here we go. Yeah, in Persona 3 Vanilla and FES, your party members, you cannot actually view their status or modify their equipment from the main pause menu. Instead, you have to talk to them, either in the Tartarus lobby or in Tartarus itself. That'll allow you to check their status, check their equipment, as well as see their persona and their levels. As you can see, Yukari is a fair deal weaker here. She does not have an attacking spell in Garu, though she will learn it eventually. All she has to work with is Dia, her bow, and she'll learn Patra at level 4. But her resistances are still the same, her stat specializations are still the same. It's just she learns skills at a much worse rate in this version of the game, and generally has weaker skills at her disposal. Ditto for Junpei over here. I'll prove that I should be in charge. Once again, we just have to talk to him, check his status, make any modifications to his equipment if we want to. I would actually like to unequip his silver necklace and Yukari's heart choker, but sadly, you cannot unequip stuff in this game, only replace it with other equipment. And he only has Cleave at his disposal, so not too different from how he is in Reload. Now, for Persona 3 Portable in the Tartarus lobby, once again, we've got a lot of the same stuff here. We can press the equivalent of the Y button, in this case the triangle button on the PSP face, in order to bring up our status menu. The clock can be used to save our progress, but uniquely, we can also pay yen to the clock to heal our party. You can heal all members of your active party, or you can just heal all characters that are currently residing in Tartarus, if you've been rotating your party around. We don't even have enough characters to even entertain that idea, so it's functionally the same as heal party. You can also check battle tips, refreshers on battle is here. Available topics are a bunch of stuff that I do not care to go over. So that's the function of the clock in this version of the game. Talking to your party. Alright, let's do this. I'll prove I should be in charge. You do not get the prompt to check their status anymore. This is the version of the game that introduced the ability to just review your party member from the main status screen. Also, we can equip them, making it much easier, much more convenient to actually move their equipment around, all that jazz. Plus, it'll be much easier to actually manage, let's just say, special weapons, once those become available to us. Otherwise, not too much to go over. One thing I do want to go over preemptively, before I forget about it, and so I can mention something later, is that I drew attention to the fact that we can get skill cards from our persona in this version of the game. But you may notice that the skill card is absent from the status screen in Persona 3 Reload. The manner you get skill cards in that game has been retooled, and we'll be seeing it Soon enough, soon enough. With all that taken care of, all these stuff here is pretty much the same. Once we actually get into Tartarus, we'll be able to go over a little bit more of the unique aspects of the PSP version. Other things to check out here, we can check out this giant device. What is this? I've never seen something like it before. Regardless, it doesn't seem to be functioning right now. Alright, so nothing too interesting to see with that, though I imagine it'll be important later. With all that done, let's head up the stairs and let's enter Tartarus and begin exploring, or rather, infiltrate Tartarus. That sounds pretty cool.
Alright.
Are y'all ready? I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Good luck.
So, it's the real deal from here on, huh?
Looks easy to get lost in.
Can you all hear me?
Whoa! Is that you, Senpai?
I'll be providing audio backup from here on out. Keep that in mind.
Wait, are you saying you can see this place from all the way out there?
It's my persona's ability. The structure of Tartarus actually changes from day to day. I'd like to join you up there, but we need someone to provide outside support.
That's even more concerning.
Now, based on your current location, you can expect to encounter enemies at any time. They shouldn't be too tough, but proceed with caution. You'll get the hang of it as you go.
Right.
Got it. Why is she always like that?
Right. Let's begin. Defeat all the shadows on that floor. I'll support you as much as I can, but it's up to you to learn something out there.
Alright, so we have our tutorial mission. Go onto this floor, defeat all the shadows, and explore it completely. Yukari, a little snippy there. Now, in this version of the game, the party members are following us around, though we can't really interact with them. Moving right along from that, though, we just need to keep exploring until we come across our first enemy.
Hold on. There's a shadow up ahead. This is the first real battle for Takeba and Iori. Proceed with caution. Alright, let's start by going over how to attack shadows. When faced with an enemy, you have two primary options for fending them off. The first option is to use your equipped weapon. The second option is to use your persona. But remember, every persona has its own strengths and weaknesses. Knowing how personas work will be crucial. Try summoning yours right now.
You can choose whether to use an attack or a skill on your enemies. You can attack with whatever weapon you have currently equipped on you. While it doesn't do the most damage, it will not deplete your HP or SP. Launch an attack by selecting the target and pressing A. On the other hand, using a skill will deplete your HP or SP. To use one, press Y and then select the skill you want to use and the target you want to use it on. So, Mitsuru there wants us to use our persona, so let's give this guy a quick fire blast. Not the most damage in the world. Ooh, that.
Okay, looks like I'm up. Here goes. Check this out.
And with that, our first battle completed, and we get a nice helping of experience, giving us those levels that we were missing out on from the other versions of Persona 3. Plus, we get a nice boost to our HP and our SP.
Oh yeah! How'd you like my persona ability?
Yeah, that was amazing.
Well done, Iori. Considering it was your first battle, you did well. Takeba too. You'll be fine. Don't be afraid to show what you can do.
Got it.
Good. Let's continue exploring.
Roger, Dodger. Alright, let's move along, and looks like we got another mark over here.
Another shadow up ahead. Let's get you more accustomed to combat. The battle's about to begin. Everyone, stay focused. Alright, next, let's go over a useful approach for defeating enemies. Most enemies have an elemental affinity that they have low resistance to. Targeting weaknesses is one of the best ways to deal damage. Not only that, it can also knock enemies down. Knocking down an enemy creates an opening, letting you continue your offense.
Weaknesses, huh? Done. I'll show you how it's done.
Wait! Let me handle this one. Just point it to my head and pull the trigger. I can do this!
Oh, you're not so bad yourself, Yuki-san.
That's it, Takeba. You give it a try as well.
Each skill and attack has an affinity, and the enemies will have weaknesses towards certain affinities. Attacking an enemy with its weakness will deal more damage than usual. It will also knock down the enemy. When an enemy is down, you'll be able to attack one more time. If you use this extra turn to knock down a different enemy, you can attack one more time again. As long as you keep knocking the enemies down, you'll be able to attack continuously. The game also neglects to mention here that when an enemy is knocked down, it takes increased damage. This can be pretty significant depending on the skills you're hitting the enemies with.
Well done. You struck the enemy's weakness. Keep that up and finish off the rest.
These cowardly Mayas are no different than the ones we fought on the night of the full moon, so we can easily blast them down with fire magic and finish them off right quick. With another generous helping of experience, of course. In general, fixed battles in Persona 3 give out absolute oodles of experience, with one exception regarding some of the fights in Persona 3 FES and Portable, but we'll be going over that.
I did it!
Fantastic work, Takeba. You performed as well as I hoped you would.
Totally. I couldn't take my eyes off you.
Can you try not being a creep?
Great. Looks like everyone's gotten used to handling their personas. Leader, take note of each member's strengths and conduct the battle accordingly. I can still sense some enemies around. Let's move on.
Alright, so...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wonder how far we can get without losing contact with Kirijo-senpai. Was just worried there was gonna be a little bit more there. Hey, what's that in the distance?
The heck? Hey! Found some kind of boxy-looking thing.
Yes, boxes like those seem to be scattered all throughout Tartarus.
Hey, I found some kind of boxy-looking thing. Yes, Junpei, that is a box.
Sometimes they contain useful items for battle. Seek them out as often as you can.
Oh, sweet! So they're basically like treasure chests. Hell yeah! Let's bust it open and see what's inside.
Treasure chests. Treasure chests in Tartarus contain items, money, and other loot that will make exploration easier. There are many types of treasure chests, each with different contents inside. You especially want to keep an eye out for special items that can only be obtained for treasure chests. This isn't apparent right now, but Persona 3 Reload has expanded the number of different chests you can come across. In Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable, there's only 2 different kinds of chests that you can come across, though this doesn't become apparent for a little bit longer. Here we get some life stones.
Looks like it'll be useful. It's up to you to decide how to use it.
Life stones are a staple SMT item, a weak healing item that restores 25% of your HP. Interestingly, life stones actually, despite being a series staple, they are not in the original releases of Persona 3. Instead, you just had the weaker fixed healing items to work with. But that doesn't really matter too much, honestly. If you get injured while exploring Tartarus, you can use items and skills to restore HP or SP. Open the menu and select Item and choose a recovery item such as Medicine or Lifestone, then choose a party member. Skills work in a similar way. Starting by opening the menu, select Skill and pick a recovery skill such as Dia, then choose a party member. It's best to prioritize Cullen's HP so that he doesn't faint while exploring. The game's kind of leading out into a very particular, shall we say, note with an asterisk there. If your main character falls in battle, it is game over. You lose. So, yeah, don't let that happen. Yeah, is this really the school? Like, no joke? Kind of funny if we were actually inside our classroom right now, huh? It would be, Junpei. It would be. Hey, a revival bead. This will restore a knocked out party member to 50% of their maximum HP. Though note, of course, that since you immediately get a game over when your protagonist falls, you cannot use it on yourself for that benefit.
Shadow detected. Looks like they haven't noticed you yet. Now's your chance. Try sneaking up on them from behind. Make sure you stay out of their field of vision.
Types of attacks and encounters. You can swing your sword by pressing X while exploring to slash an enemy. Doing so will start combat. Striking an enemy from behind will trigger a chance encounter where you have the advantage at the start of combat. If the enemy attacks you first, a pinch encounter will occur, placing you at a disadvantage. Get into the habit of initiating chance encounters to gain the upper hand for an easy victory. You can still swing your sword even when there are no enemies present, so you'll be able to practice and test your sword's range. So now we're getting introduced to first strikes in Persona 3 Reload. It's worth noting that we are stuck with swords in this version of the game. We will never have the option to use any kind of range weaponry, which is not something that is the case in Persona 3 FES, though is sadly also the case in Persona 3 Portable. Anyway. Now, when we get a first strike...
Next, I'm going to explain a tactic for defeating several enemies at once. First, go ahead and strike an enemy's weakness.
Before we get into that, I'd just like to say, every time we get a first strike, we get a new, swanky battle theme. Like it a lot, actually.
I'll keep track of tactical data, such as any enemy weaknesses you've identified. If you ever forget an enemy's affinities, just let me know and I'll get that data for you.
Pressing LB will allow you to view the affinities of a selected enemy. The different affinities are Slash, Strike, Pierce, Fire, Ice, Electricity, Wind, Light, and Dark. The amount of damage inflicted depends on the enemy's affinity. Unknown affinity has not been used against the enemy yet. Weak, more damage dealt, and knockdown possible. Resist, damage is halved. Null, no damage taken. Repel, damage is deflected and inflicted on the one who initiated it. Drain, damage will be absorbed by the target and heals them instead. Anyways, Mitsuru is our navigator, and she'll be keeping track of enemy weaknesses for us, so whenever we find something that works on the enemy, we don't have to commit it to our own memory. Mitsuru has that down for us. She does not have much else in the way of information on the enemies, though.
Right. Now knock down the other one. That's when you perform an all-out attack.
An all-out attack?
It's a maneuver that engages the entire team in a coordinated assault when all enemies have been knocked down. Naturally, the enemy has no way of defending against this. It's one of the most reliable means of attack.
Whoa! That sounds so badass! Let's give it a try right now!
When you've knocked down every enemy, you'll get the chance to execute an all-out attack that will deal significant damage to all enemies. Once an all-out attack is possible, there will be a prompt asking whether or not you want to initiate it. Press B to cancel and A to perform an all-out attack. Choose wisely depending on the situation. If you are afflicted with a status ailment, or if you are the only one mobile at the time, then an all-out attack cannot be executed. If any party member is afflicted with a status ailment at the time of an all-out attack, they will not be able to join in. This will reduce the amount of damage dealt to enemies. One thing to note is that this is actually a pretty significant difference with how all-out attacks work in this version of the game compared to prior versions of the game. In FES and Portable, not every ailment restricted you from performing an all-out attack. Only ones that disabled your control of party members did that. In Persona 3 Reload, all ailments prevent you from participating in all-out attacks, so be mindful of that if all-out attacks are critical to winning fights. Now, all-out attacks are really good in this version of the game starting out, and there's a very particular reason you want to perform them often, but as far as raw damage dealing goes, in Persona 3 Portable, and especially Persona 3 Reload, all-out attacks are not the end-all be-all, and they're actually quite weak later in the game. In Persona 3 FES, on the other hand, all-out attacks are absolutely cracked, and we'll be seeing that later in the game.
Here we go.
And now we get our first experience with Shuffle Time. After a battle is won, Shuffle Time may occur. The game is playing a little coy here. If you win a battle with an all-out attack, Shuffle Time will always occur. During Shuffle Time, different types of cards formed by the possibilities within your soul will appear. You can choose one of these cards. Each type of card has a different effect. Persona, acquire a new persona. Wand, increases experience. Cup, activates battle support effects. Sword, obtain a skill card. And Coin, obtain money. The one more as you get in battle, the higher the chance Shuffle Time will occur. If you end a battle with an all-out attack, Shuffle Time will always occur. Okay, it does mention that. In Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable, Shuffle Time has a really high chance of occurring if your protagonist gets the killing strike, and otherwise has a low chance of occurring if any of your party members finish the battle off. Shuffle Time will also always occur if you win the fight on your very first action, so that's another thing to consider if you have the means to win the fight in the first action. Now, Shuffle Time in Persona 3 Reload is ridiculously simplified. There is no shuffling, actually. You just see the cards, and you pick the one you want. In this case, we only have one choice, the Persona card, the Priestess Apsaris. We also get new end-of-battle screens, like Persona 5 featured, plus just an absolutely ridiculous amount of experience. Or so it seems. That amount of experience is actually divided between our party members. It's worth noting that this is not actually the case in Persona 3 FES. In Persona 3 FES, the experience value you see is what everybody in the party gets, and it actually is not divided by having more party members. In Persona 3 Portable, the experience value you see is what everyone gets, but if you remove people from your party, you end up getting more experience, since the final EXP payout is divided by your party members. I'm not sure why Reload uses the Persona 3 Portable method of determining EXP payouts, but doesn't actually show you what everyone is actually getting. It's kind of silly, but whatever. One step forward, two steps back, right? Now, Orpheus has leveled up enough to pick up Dia. Next level up, he will get Bash, which I'm really looking forward to, as it will give us a stronger physical attacking option.
How'd you like our all-out combo attack, you filthy shadows?
When I saw my opening, it's like my body just knew what to do.
That was magnificent teamwork. It's hard to believe it's your first time. As you grasp the flow of battle, you'll learn to coordinate with each other seamlessly. Let's apply what we've learned so far and continue exploring.
Now that we've seen basically all the tutorial aspects of Persona 3 Reload, save for one more thing that's going to pop up in just a little bit in that version of the game, I figured I'd cut back to FES at this point, because all of the mechanics that were just went over in Reload, we can actually check out most of them right from the get-go. Like this Shadow right here, he's not in a fixed location. We can just sneak up on him and get a first strike on our very first battle. One thing to note about Persona 3 FES, okay, well maybe not a first strike, but
has informed me about your power, but nevertheless, you have minimal combat experience. Would you like me to explain the basics of battle?
You can have Mitsuru tutorialize to you here, but most of the stuff we're going to be going over.
Then I want you to defeat the enemy before you. Try using both the skill and attack options.
Mitsuru asked for you to not tutorialize to me, but Mitsuru tried to tutorialize to you, but you can just choose to ignore her in this version of the game, and we're just going to Agi this thing, and this will allow us to immediately get into using all-out attacks, well before Mitsuru actually explains this concept to us. One thing I want to note about striking enemies on the field in Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable is that if you do not get the first strike on enemies when they cannot... basically, if an enemy is alerted to your position when you attempt to first strike them, they will have a chance to get a preemptive strike themselves, even if you manage to hit them without them hitting you in return. In Persona 3 Reload, when you hit the enemies, they will always, at the very least, have a neutral strike. They need to specifically hit you in order to get a first strike in Reload. Anyways, I was expecting a Shuffle Time to appear there, but it did not. There is a staircase nearby. Staircase is the only way to proceed to the next floor, blah, 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 blah. We've heard all this song and dance before. Well, actually, I don't think she got around to mentioning that in Reload, but it does not really matter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut ahead to when there is a Shuffle Time.
longer.
Alright, here we go, we finally have Shuffle Time. And unlike Persona 3 Reload, Shuffle Time is not just a name. After battle, you will occasionally have the opportunity to select a card from one shuffled before your eyes. If you pick a card with a persona on it, then you will receive that persona. There are other cards, each of which has a unique effect or reward. Keep an eye on the card you want and try to pick it. Now I want that Pixie card over there. That's the first persona we'll be getting in this version of the game. And as you can see, the cards do in fact shuffle. This is actually a little mini game you have to play where the cards shuffle around. There is also an alternative version in Persona 3 Portable, which I'm recording this before Persona 3 Portable, so if I get the alternative version of Shuffle Time in that game, I'll cut to that, but otherwise we'll see that when we see it. If Pixie was not available, I'd actually pick that sword card, because there is something I would like to see if I could get it. Also, we're doing quite well on Snuff Souls. One of the treasure cases I opened also had a Snuff Soul in it. So we actually have 3 in this version of the game compared to the 2 we have in Reload. That actually does not matter as much as you'd think, for reasons we'll go over by the end of this video.
Yes! My skill level has increased!
Ta-da-da-da! I'm the man!
And I was gonna cut away, but that let me show off another delightful thing about Persona 3 Vanilla and FES. Well, okay, it's cute, but also kind of gameplay-wise annoying. You do not actually CC when your party members level up. Instead, if they leveled up from the battle, you'll see the level up icon flash on their portrait on the side there, and they'll make a little statement announcing it. You do not actually get to see when they've hit a level where they learned a skill either, so you have to manually be tracking the levels they're going to be learning at skills at, if you actually want to be mindful of those skills when they become available to you. Persona 3 Vanilla and FES have a lot of mechanics that are designed to increase the level of immersion and interaction you have with the game world, but a lot of the time this succeeds in making the game a lot more annoying to play, and those rough edges gradually got sanded off as the game got re-released, which is for the better in a lot of cases, but also can make the game a lot less interesting in others. That's neither here nor there, though. Let's continue on with other tutorial aspects. Also, Fourth Snuff Soul there. I'm gonna get that in real quick. Actually, we just walked it forward just a little bit. Got another tutorial here. If you or another party member has a persona with healing skills, be sure to take advantage of it. This is another thing that you can get from talking with your party members, and yes, you can talk with your party members on the field in Tartarus, in FES and Portable. For Portable, this just gets you some flavor text, but in FES, beyond being able to check their status and equipment, you can also request healing from party members who have healing skills available to them. This is the only way to actually make use of their healing skills. You can't use them from your pause menu. Only the protagonist's healing skills can be used from there. Real quick, while we have the opportunity, I'd just like to pop into the PSP version, and as you can see, for Tartarus, we actually do get a standard, shall we say, top-down overworld to go through, with 3D polygonal models actually moving around, interacting with the environment. We're also able to talk with our party members in this version, but this is purely for flavor text. There is no practical purpose to doing this. All aspects of interfacing with your party have now been moved to the status screen. So using healing skills, equipping them, checking their status, all of that is in the primary status screen. So that's another way the game has been streamlined. With all that covered, let's move on. Since I might not get a chance to fit it anywhere else, here's what the all-out attack looks like in Persona 3 Portable. Truth be told, I don't think the cut-ins look nearly as good as in this version of the game, but it's not a terrible-looking animation either. Anyway, moving on. Alright, so cutting to Persona 3 Portable, I did get the unique shuffle time for this version. In this version, you can occasionally get shuffle times where the cards will spin around or fly across the screen, and they basically, it's like a slot machine, sort of. You just have to stop it at the right time. Not quite a perfect analogy, but it's a bit hard to describe. I mean, I guess it's a means of shuffling the cards, but this is something that is carried over from Persona 4, where Shuffle Time was retooled to always work like this. Do note, though, that in Persona 3 Portable, you can get this version of Shuffle Time as well as the standard Persona 3 Shuffle. Alright, let's do so, let's do so. What else could there be for us to find in here? Whoa, those open on their own? Sheesh, that scared the crap out of me. Tartarus has much more fanciful design and effects in Persona 3 Reload. The design of Tartarus as a dungeon was quite simplistic in FES and Portable, so I decided to make it a little bit more interesting to go through. This is good and bad. Hey, there's another shadow over there. This one's actually roaming, though.
Another shadow up ahead. Take advantage of what you just learned. Try not to alert the enemy as you move.
So, we just need to wait for it to turn its back, and then we can dash up and hit it. Let's give it a shot. You'll note that the enemy was aware of our presence there.
The basics of combat now, but the most important thing is making decisions based on the situation at hand. I'll continue providing support, but this time, go ahead and try fighting on your own.
You, my boy, are able to possess multiple personas and summon them at will.
I can feel new potential within myself. Change personas. If you have multiple personas in your possession, you can use Change Persona to swap out your equipped persona with another in your stock. Changing personas will also change your stats, affinities, and usable skills based on the persona you switch to. During battle, open the Persona submenu to view skills, and then press LB or RB to change personas. You can also change your equipped persona outside of battle by pressing Y to open the menu, then navigating to the Persona submenu. You can change personas at any time, but in battle, you can only do so before taking action that turn. Okay, so let's try out our new persona here, Tartarus. As you can see, she comes with Bufu, an ice spell, and I'm kind of picking up what the game is putting down here. We can strike the weakness of these shadows with that spell.
Your persona just now. It looks like you really do have a special power.
So yes, a nice little quality of life thing is that we can just go into our skill menu and use the shoulder buttons to rotate between our personas. It doesn't really have a dedicated menu anymore. Additionally, remember how I went to the options and turned persona memory off? What that option means is that when the battle ends, the game won't remember that we switched our persona, and it instead will switch us back to Orpheus. This is actually a super helpful feature, for reasons that'll become apparent later when we start getting some more, shall we say, potent boosting skills. For right now, though, we just want to finish this off with an all-out attack and get another shuffle time. One kind of missed opportunity for this version of the game. I kind of wish they added like more animations for all-out attacks. And we got a few different things we could pick here. We could pick up this skill card and get the single-shot pierce attack, which we could teach to any persona we had. We could get some more experience from this battle, get a small amount of money, or we could pick the Cup, which restores 50% of our maximum HP. The Cup has actually been buffed considerably from its original iteration, where it only ever restored HP randomly to either your protagonist or the party, and the strength of, or the amount of HP restored depended on the level of the card. It was nowhere near 50% at level 1. I think the smart thing to pick here would be Single Shot. Give us some more attacking options. Besides, since this is a fixed encounter, well, okay, we didn't really get great experience there. Also, we got Mask of Cruelty. This is another new thing to Persona 3 Reload, bringing in something that was featured in Persona 4 and Persona 5. The enemies in Persona 3 Reload drop vendor trash now, so we get items that strictly exist to be sold and pad out our coffers.
The enemy has been defeated. Excellent work.
Was that?
Well, it looks like he has the ability to summon different personas. I suspected as much after the events from the other day, but now we know for sure. All right.
Okay, I think this is a good place to stop. There's a device nearby that will teleport you back. Look around for it. There should also be some stairs nearby, but I can't approve any more exploration right now. We'll explore the upper floors next time. Occasionally, you will encounter one-way teleporters in Tartarus that can be used to return to the entrance. Keep in mind that since these teleporters are only one way, you cannot return to the same floor where it was used. Something else to note is that in Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable, the tutorial doesn't end just now. Alright, we're coming up on the final tutorial in Persona 3 FES and Portable, and it's about a mechanic that you'll likely never see me use because it is legitimately really unhelpful, most of the time anyway. That's odd. Usually there are more shadows on the prowl. Well, at least you gained some experience in battle. Let's go back to the dorm for today. There should be an access point somewhere on that floor. You can use it to return to the entrance. Since there aren't any enemies to worry about, why don't you split up and search individually? Just tell the other party members what you'd like them to do. Press the square button to issue orders to your allies. And yes, we can press the square button to split our team up. There are actually two flavors of this. The standard split up command will cause your party members to split off and just start exploring the floor and generally try to avoid confrontation if they can manage it. Or you can split them up with the express intent of sending them out alone to defeat shadows. This is a really terrible idea on hard mode because your party members will not be able to defeat shadows on their own at all. And in Persona 3 FES and Vanilla, I don't even know if this gives you bonus experience or gives the party members bonus experience if they manage to defeat anything on their own. It does do so in Persona 3 Portable, definitely, but I'm not clear on that in this one because it's a terrible mechanic that I never use. Ditto for splitting up, really. We'll do it, and if your party members spread out and find access points or items, they'll collect the items and give them to you when you either use an access point or move on to the next floor. However, if they're not very strong, they easily fall prey to an enemy. Be sure to keep an eye on their HP. That's the big reason why you never split up. Get a little message for that. We'll let them go along. Likely, Yukari will find the access point, and Junpei will find an item. And yes, we'll go back now. Okay then, let's go. Unfortunately, Yukari found the access point before Junpei got to the item, so he did not actually get the item, but I believe he just finds a medicine. Just showing off here that if a party member that split off does find an item and you reach the stairs of the access point, here comes Junpei to give us the item, and hey, another snuff soul. Appreciate those. Thank you, Junpei. Unfortunately, we don't... Well, okay. In a manner of speaking, there is actually a means to split up your party, but it doesn't really work quite the same way that it does in the other versions of the game. One thing to note is that there's a different kind of treasure chest over here.
Look! That treasure chest looks different from the one before.
Yes, that particular box is sealed in a special way. The box can be unlocked by its own mechanism, but it needs something else to work during the dark hour.
Twilight fragment I found in my room seems to be reacting.
What's that you got there?
I wonder...
That reaction? Do you have a Twilight fragment with you? Try holding it up to that treasure chest. Locked treasure chest. This is the first of a new variety of treasure chest found in Persona 3 Reload. Special locked treasure chests can be unlocked with Twilight fragments. The amount you need will vary from chest to chest, so you'll want to collect as many as you can. Alright, so let's pop this sucker open and see what we get. We get a Snuff Soul. 2, in fact. These are items that restore your SP. These restore 50 SP a pop. Locked treasure chests will always have very useful items in them, so, if you have a bunch of Twilight fragments kicking around, it kind of behooves you to open them. But, for reasons we'll get into later, you always want to keep at least 7 Twilight fragments on hand, so never let your stock of Twilight fragments go below that. Obviously, we don't have 7 at the moment, so it doesn't really matter too much, and we'll quickly be able to shore up our supplies of Twilight fragments to use them for one of the main things that we'd like to have them for, and you specifically need 7 for that particular thing. Ah, I thought that's what it was. That's a Twilight Fragment. They can be used on devices throughout Tartarus. You might find more in Tartarus or other locations with traces of shadows. If you come across any going forward, you'll want to take them. Alright, we'll keep an eye out. We'll keep an eye on Mitsuru. With that taken care of, let's make our way past that, and now we have to find a teleporter. And, just so happens, past the locked treasure chest.
Looks like you found a teleporter. Now use it to return to the entrance.
We won't question why these exist in Tartarus, and just appreciate the fact that they do. Let's head back.
Welcome back. So, how was it?
It was a little tiring, honestly.
It must have hit you all at once. Don't worry, you'll get used to it.
Wow! I never knew I had that kind of power. But damn, why do I feel so exhausted?
'Cause you were bouncing around like a little kid.
You say that, but you look pretty tired yourself, Yucatan.
This is different. It's like I'm having trouble breathing. What's going on?
That's the effect of the dark hour. You'll become fatigued more easily. Don't worry, you'll get used to it. I have to say though, I'm surprised. You all did much better than I expected. At this rate, they'll catch up to you in no time, Akihiko.
We'll see about that.
By combining my powers with the teams, I was able to stand against the shadows. I sense a strong bond with them. With that, we reach rank 2 of the Fool social link. Very nice, very nice. But how does that exactly benefit us right now? Just like Yukari and Junpei, I feel tired as well. I decided it would be best to return to my room and rest. One thing I'd like to remark on before wrapping up the video, in Persona 3 FES, take a look at our HP and SP. This is not an effect of the cutscene. You'll notice that it's full, and this is actually an inherent aspect of the Tartarus Entrance in Persona 3 Vanilla and Persona 3 FES. Whenever you return to the entrance, your HP and SP are restored to full, free of charge. That is remarkably gracious for a Mega 10 game, and you might be thinking, what's the catch? There is indeed a catch to this, and it'll be coming up later, and this catch is part of the thing that will heavily limit our ability to explore Tartarus throughout the game in the PS2 versions of Persona 3. A limitation that you don't have to deal with at all in Persona 3 Portable and Persona 3 Reload, and consequently it's much easier to become over-leveled and overstocked in those versions of the game if you lose track of yourself in Tartarus. But that's neither here nor there. Let's wrap up the video. But the game doesn't immediately return us, for the better honestly, because I wanted to save and end the video here anyway, so that's exactly what we'll do. But, with the conclusion of our first exploration bout into Tartarus, we are actually finally entering the point of the game where we actually get some freedom and agency over what we do during the day. We aren't exactly going to be rich in options starting out, but we will rapidly pick up new things to do, and there are definitely things I want to do before we return to Tartarus, though trust me, we will be returning to Tartarus very soon, because, well, we're kind of broke right now. 3,000 yen? I have a feeling we could find some stuff that we could pawn off here in Tartarus, plus some additional money-making opportunities, but that's neither here nor there. As always, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, though, goodbye.
I don't dispute the doubts you've outlined, but it's my right to waste your time.